This resource is the first of a two-part series on critical thinking. Part 1 defines critical thinking. It suggests common characteristics of critical thinkers and frames of mind that oppose critical thinking. Part 2 describes the process of critical thinking. It suggests a series of steps to increase critical thinking and explores each step in depth. Before we formally define critical thinking, let's see some examples of critical thinking in action. Critical thinking is the lawyer who found the loophole that allowed their client to avoid jail time. It is the doctor who diagnosed the cancer that all the other doctors missed, saving their patient's life. It is the technician who found the circuit problem that could have fried your computer, making you lose all your assignment files. It is the nurse who realized that her patient's medications could have serious side effects when taken together, and suggested different meds. It is the student who discovered that reading materials before class made the lecture much more understandable. It is the mechanic who realized the loss of power in a car was from a broken valve spring that would cost $10 to replace, rather than having to buy a whole new car. Now we have a general idea about critical thinking. More formally, critical thinking is, quote, disciplined thinking that is clear, rational, open-minded, and informed by evidence, unquote, as defined by the Random House Online Dictionary. So critical thinking is a mindset and method of thought. It is logical and requires evidence, rather than working on gut feelings. It allows for new ideas, rather than focusing on a narrow perspective. Let's look at these characteristics more closely. Critical thinkers are skeptical. They do not accept information on face value. Instead, they want proof. They believe there are answers, but need to be convinced that the answer is correct. Critical thinkers are also creative. They look outside the box to find their answers. They work to find new and improved solutions, rather than trust in the old standards. Critical thinkers are open-minded. They will accept new ideas, so long as those ideas are reasonable. They do not prejudge concepts. Critical thinkers are also objective. They do not allow personal feelings, biases, or prejudices color their opinions. They only want the facts. Critical thinkers just want the truth. Critical thinkers are honest with themselves and others. If they do not understand something, they realize so and will ask questions. They recognize their cognitive shortcomings and look to improve. They are frank when dealing with others, never having a hidden agenda. Critical thinkers compare and evaluate options. They learn as much as they can about a situation, collecting sufficient information to make a reasonable, informed decision. They brainstorm and look at multiple possibilities. Critical thinkers make their own decisions. They look at all the information and weigh all the evidence. Only when they feel they have a firm grasp of the situation do they make a decision. Critical thinkers question situations and assumptions. They want to know the full picture. What is the context? Why do people believe as they do? They go deeper than the obvious. They ask probing questions to gather more information. Earlier we discussed the mechanic that realized a car had a broken valve spring. The mechanic sought to understand more than the fact the car was losing power. When was it losing power? Did it always lose power? Was the power loss gradual or immediate? Critical thinkers are also willing to change their mind. They stay open to learning more. If the evidence proves a different viewpoint, a critical thinker is flexible enough to change. They don't care what the correct answer is, so long as it is the correct answer. There are certain characteristics that critical thinkers do not have. Critical thinkers are not ethnocentric. They do not believe that their own culture is superior, nor do they interpret other cultures from the narrow lens of their own. They keep an open mind about different ways and means. Critical thinkers are not manipulative. They do not look to influence others unfairly, or use others to advance their own agendas. If a critical thinker's proofs and reasoning convince others to agree, so be it. They only want the truth to be known. Nor are critical thinkers judgmental. They do not make prejudicial value judgments. They do not equate unfamiliar with bad. Different viewpoints are not bad, they are just different. In fact, they provide an opportunity to find deeper truths. Critical thinking is logical, rational, and fact-based thinking. Critical thinkers are open to new ideas, but you better convince them fully and have proof for your statements. They look at information dispassionately and only make their decision after all the evidence is heard. They do not allow ethnocentrism affect their thought process, nor do they look to judge or manipulate others. Critical thinkers just want the truth.